The warninged great hall of the Zareth Empire was filled with shadows and firelight. Massive banners of conquest hung from the high stone walls, each one painted with the image of a world they had already taken. Dozens of alien lords sat in a wide circle, their claws tapping against polished tables, their skilled faces lit by the glow of burning plasma torches. The air was heavy with pride, the kind of pride that grows after centuries of victory, for the Zareth Empire believed there was no species left in the galaxy that could stand against them. At the center of the chamber stood General Vorik, tall and armored, his chest plate carved from the bones of enemies long defeated. He raised his massive hand, and the voices round him grew quiet. His voice thundered as he spoke, his sharp teeth flashing. "My Emperor, lords of the council, I bring you news. Our fleets stand ready. Our armies hunger for war. Before us lies a weak and scattered race. They call themselves humans." The hall stirred with interest, whispers echoing. Vork lifted his chin, arrogance dripping from every word. "They are nothing. Their colonies are small. Their fleets are thin. They are outnumbered, outgunned, and unprepared. Give me the order, and I will crush them in one campaign. Their planets will burn. Their names will be erased." The chamber erupted into cheers. Claws pounded the floor. Wings snapped open in excitement. The lords of the Empire shouted in agreement, drunk on the idea of another conquest. But while they cheered, one figure did not move. Elder Sharer, the oldest among them, rose slowly from her seat, her staff glowing faintly in the firelight. Her body was frail, her back bent with age, but her eyes still burned like twin suns. When she spoke, her voice was not loud, yet it carried across the chamber with strange weight. "Do not attack their humans," she said, each word sharp. The hall fell silent at once. The cheers died. Every lord turned toward her. General Vorik laughed, his deep voice booming. "You speak of fear, old one. But I have studied their fleets. Their ships are toys, their weapons outdated. They cannot stand before us." Sharer's gaze did not leave him. "You do not understand what they are," she whispered, her voice heavy with memory. "They are not weak. They are dangerous. They do not fight like us. They do not surrender. They burn everything, including themselves, just to win." The chamber grew tense, lords shifting uneasily in their seats. The Emperor leaned forward on his throne, his crown of black iron glinting in the firelight. His voice was calm, but edged with curiosity. "Elder Sharer, you speak boldly. Tell us why you believe this." Sharer gripped her staff tighter, her hand trembling. "Because I have seen them," she said, her voice growing louder. "Long ago, I fought in a campaign against them. We believed as you believe now, that they were weak, that they could be crushed in a single strike. But we were wrong." Her eyes swept across the hall, piercing every lord who dared meet her gaze. "They do not fight to protect a throne or an emperor. They fight to survive, and survival makes them stronger than any empire." Vorik snarled, unwilling to bend. "You exaggerate. A few colonies cannot stand against the Zareth Armada." Sharer shook her head, her voice sharp as a blade. "You think war is measured in numbers. But with humans, war is measured in how far they are willing to go. They will fight with their last breath. They will turn their homes into fortresses, their people into soldiers, their pain into fire. Attack them, and they will not stop. They will follow you across the stars until your empire is ashes." The chamber was frozen. The torches crackled. The silence grew heavy. Some lords whispered nervously. Others avoided each other's eyes. The Emperor did not move, his expression unreadable. But his clawed hand tapped slowly against the armrest of his throne. He had heard many voices in his long reign, voices of pride, voices of fear. But Shara's words carried something different. Truth. Shara's voice softened now, but the warning was no less sharp. "You call them weak because you see their size, their fleets, their numbers. But I tell you this, to fight humans is to invite fire. To think they are prey is to become prey yourself. Do not attack them, or the flames you light will consume us all." The Lord sat in silence, claws still, wings folded. their pride clashing with the cold unease in their hearts. General Vorik growled, but even his arrogance had dimmed, and above them all, the emperor leaned back in his throne, his eyes glowing in the torchlight. He said nothing, but the chamber felt the weight of a choice that would shape the future of the empire. And in that silence, Shara's words echoed like a prophecy. Attack the humans, and they will reduce our empire to ashes. Asterisk the forgotten battle. Shara's voice grew heavier as she spoke, her eyes glowing with memories that none of the younger lords could understand. You cheer for war because you have not seen what I have seen, she said, her tone sharp. You believe humans will fall like the others. But I tell you this. I was there the last time we crossed their path. The chamber stirred uneasily, whispers running like rivers through the ranks of the lords. Few among them remembered such a battle. Fewer still believed it had ever happened. But Shora's presence, her trembling staff, and the fire in her voice kept them silent. It was long ago. She began, her gaze fixed not on Vorik, but on the emperor himself. Our fleets moved against a small colony of humans on the edge of the stars. We believed them to be soft, weak, and scattered. They had no empire, no throne, no great fleets to protect them. Only one world with mines, fields, and settlements. She paused, her breath shaking. When we descended, they did not run, they did not bow, they did not even ask for mercy. Instead, they turned their planet into a fortress. Every home became a bunker, every mine shaft a tunnel, every hilltop a gun post. They fought with whatever they had, plasma rifles, old cannons, even their bare hands. The lords shifted in discomfort, claws drumming against the table. Shara's voice grew louder, cutting through their knees. They had no great weapons compared to ours. Their ships were small, their armor thin, their numbers pitiful, yet every soldier fought to the last. Every civilian carried a weapon. Children carried grenades. Old men carried rifles. They turned survival into a weapon sharper than any blade. General Vorik snarled, trying to interrupt. They could not have won. A single colony cannot defeat the Zareth Armada. Shara's gaze turned to him, hard as stone. They did not win, but neither did we. Her words cut the chamber like a knife. Silence spread once more. We burned their cities, but they burned our fleets. We crushed their armies, but they destroyed our war machines. We killed them by the thousands, and yet more rose from the rubble. For every human that fell, two more stood in their place. The torches crackled, the sound sharp in the silence. Shara lifted her staff, the crystal glowing faintly. Do you know what it means to fight someone who does not fear death? They did not fight for conquest. They fought because they refused to vanish. They fought because losing was not an option. They fought because survival was their only truth. The emperor leaned forward, his voice calm, but edged with curiosity. And what became of that colony? He asked. Shara's eyes dimmed, her voice heavy with sorrow. It is gone. We destroyed it in the end, left it burning and broken. But in destroying it, we lost nearly a third of our fleet. 30,000 warriors, 10 capital ships, countless machines of war, gone to crush a single human world. Gasps echoed through the chamber. Some lords recalled in disbelief. Vorik's arrogant smile faltered. You expect us to believe one colony cost that much, he growled. Shara's eyes burned as she struck the floor with her staff. I do not expect you to believe. I expect you to listen. Because I was there. Because I walked through the ashes. Because I saw with my own eyes what humans can do when they are cornered. She leaned closer, her voice rising with warning. They are fire, Vorik. They do not fight clean. They do not fight fair. They will drag you into the flames with them, and they will laugh through bloody teeth as they burn. Attack them, and you will not win. You will only suffer. The chamber filled with unease. The younger lords no longer so quick to cheer. Whispers spread among them, fear crawling into their pride. The emperor's eyes narrowed as he studied Shara, his face unreadable. But in the silence, her words lingered like smoke after fire. Do not mistake their small fleets for weakness, she said. her voice steady again. Do not mistake their scattered colonies for safety. For humans do not need empires. They only need a reason. Give them war, and they will become war itself. They will fight with every breath, every stone, every drop of blood, until your empire is nothing but dust. The lords shivered, not from the cold, but from the truth that clung to Shar's words. Even Vorik did not speak, his pride shaken, his arrogance tested, and above them all, the emperor sat in silence, his claws tapping slowly on the arm of his throne. For though he had not spoken his thoughts, even he felt the weight of Shar's tail, and in that hall, filled with the smell of burning torches and the silence of fear, the truth of humanity was revealed. They were not prey, they were not weak. They were the forgotten fire waiting to rise again. Asterisk. The hall of the Zereth Empire was silent. Not a single lord spoke. Not a single claw scraped the stone. The only sound was the crackle of plasma torches and the faint tapping of the Emperor's claws again. Saint his throne. Elder Shar stood tall despite her bent back, her staff glowing faintly as if echoing her words. She had told her story. She had revealed the truth. But now the question remained, would they listen? General Vorik shifted uneasily, his armor clinking in the silence. His pride had carried him into the chamber like a storm, but Shar's words had struck him harder than any blade. For the first time, doubt flickered in his eyes. Still, he tried to hold on to his arrogance. They are one race, he growled, his voice lower now, one species scattered among the stars. How can they hope to resist an empire such as ours? Shar's gaze turned to him, sharp as fire. One race can be enough, she replied, her voice firm. Because humans do not fight for power. They fight for survival, and survival makes them stronger than numbers, stronger than weapons, stronger than fear. The lords murmured nervously, their pride shaking under the weight of her words. Shar's voice rose again, filling the hall. You called them prey, but they are hunters. You call them weak, but they are fire. Fire does not ask if it can burn. Fire simply consumes. If you strike them, they will not stop until every one of your fleets is ash, until every one of your worlds is dust. The Emperor leaned forward, his crown of black iron glowing in the torchlight. His deep voice rolled through the chamber. Calm, but heavy. You claim that to attack humans is to invite death. Tell me, Elder, if they are so dangerous, why do they not rule the stars already? Shara's lips pressed into a thin line, her eyes dark with memory. Because they do not seek to rule, she said softly. They do not hunger for thrones or empires. They only fight when they must. But when they do, they fight without limits. They are patient. They are quiet. They wait in the shadows until someone is foolish enough to awaken them. Then, when the war begins, nothing can stop them. Her staff struck the stone floor, the sound echoing like a drumbeat. They will fight with ships, with blades, with fire, with stones. With their very bodies, they will fight in space, on land, in the air, in the dark. They will fight until nothing is left. Attack them. And you will not destroy them, you will only teach them. And once they learn, they will never stop. A chill swept through the hall. The lords whispered like frightened children. Some clutched their cloaks, others lowered their gazes. For the first time, the mighty council of the Zereth Empire felt the weight of true fear. General Vorik clenched his fists. But his arrogance had broken. Even he could not deny the terror that seeped through Shora's words. Still, he muttered, they are only human. Shar's eyes burned as she raised her staff high. No, she said, her voice sharp as a blade. They are humanity. And that word alone has ended empires. Before, the Emperor's claws stopped tapping. His gaze locked on Shar. He did not speak for a long time, his silence heavier than any command. Finally, he leaned back, his voice low but carrying across the entire hall. Then perhaps the wise path is not conquest, he said. Perhaps we must leave the humans where they are. Relief spread through some of the lords. Though none dared cheer, they had come expecting war, expecting easy conquest. But now they left with unease in their hearts. The fire Sharer had described haunted them. It clung to their thoughts. whispering that perhaps she was right. Perhaps to fight the humans was to burn. As the lords filed out, their banners trailing behind them, Elder Shara remained. Her gaze lingered on the Emperor. Her voice a final warning. Remember my words. Do not test them. Do not provoke them. For if you awaken the fire of humanity, it will not stop until your empire is reduced to ashes. The Emperor said nothing, but his eyes were cold. He understood, even if pride would not let him admit it. The Empire had faced many enemies, but this one was different. This one was a fire that could not be controlled. And in the shadows of the Great Hall, the warning echoed like prophecy. The humans were waiting, and the galaxy would never be the same.